Hey, good morning, sports bettors. Matt here with OddsJam, coming to you with some player props to lock in for Thursday night football tonight. So I actually have 3 player props, 1 just regular game prop, not player prop, but 4 bets total to hammer for Thursday night football tonight. Of course, using OddsJam to find these sharp, mathematically profitable bets. Using OddsJam, really cool, gives you the edge over the sportsbooks that you are placing the bet with. Generally, an unfortunate reality of sports betting is that sportsbooks have the edge over you. So using a tool like OddsJam can give you the edge over them. The way it works is OddsJam, based on thousands of betting opportunities being backtested, determined which sportsbooks are the sharpest at pricing certain markets and certain sports, stuff like that. So it's not equal across the board. Some are better at football, some are better at basketball, some are better at player props, whatever that may be. OddsJam collected all that data to make that determination, which ones are the smartest, and then removed the VIG of a weighted average using all of those sharp sportsbooks. So that's exactly what is done here, where you see the no VIG odds. These are going to be, quote unquote, the true line of what a market should truly be priced at. So anywhere in which you can get better odds than the no VIG line is going to be a mathematically profitable bet. So the first one that I wanted to lock in here is Andy Dalton to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The no VIG odds, price this at plus 155. You can get it on PointsBet at plus 165. So a massive 9 to 10 cent gap between these two numbers, which equates to a profit margin in EV percent, however you want to call it, your edge at 3.66%. So my recommended bet size on this one is about half of a unit. So I'll go ahead and round this down, put half a unit on this one, lock this one in on PointsBet, assuming they let me get the full $50, which we will have to come back and see. But the reason why I like this one, I mentioned, of course, that it's positive expected value, right? The gap between these two numbers, the bigger the gap, the higher the edge that you receive. It doesn't necessarily mean the higher the gap, the better the bet. There are certain things that you need to look out for. Number one, if you click into a play, it pulls up where every sportsbook is pricing odds for this play. And they let me get $9.09 on this one. But for those of you at home locking in this play, it should be a half of a unit play, not $9.09, but that is all they will let me get, unfortunately. But if you open up this, if you click the tab, click this play, and you open up and see where every sportsbook prices it, just look. So PointsBet at plus 165. The next closest book is Tipico at plus 150. That is 15 cents lower than the PointsBet line. Bettor line, plus 146. Pinnacle, plus 140. And then you have some other, like the onshore books, like DraftKings does a pretty good job pricing player props, has this at plus 135. PlayUp at plus 138. Caesars at plus 133. Long story short, this plus 165 is a massive outlier when compared to all of the other sportsbooks. And that's exactly what you're looking for when you're using OddsJam and when you're placing positive expected value bets. You're looking for outliers. So this is a great play. And then just for handicapping purposes, you know, the Saints, obviously a run-first team, but the Cardinals have such a bad secondary, such a bad defense, that even with the Saints offense being as banged up as it is, Andy Dalton could still easily get 2 touchdowns, depending on if it's kind of just some touchdown luck relates to Andy Dalton as opposed to running the ball. It's not the most likely outcome, and the plus 155 odds reflect a win percentage of roughly 39%. But the gap between these two numbers will be profitable in the long run, which is why it's a bet that I like. So this is the first one that I'm locking in, Andy Dalton over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus 165 at PointsBet. The next bet that I want to lock in is also on PointsBet. It's a little bit farther down. And what we're looking at here is Kyler Murray under 35.5 passing attempts. Another play on PointsBet, minus 110, which is why I'm sticking here. But same logic. Look where all the other sports books price it. Minus 110 at PointsBet. FanDuel's close at minus 114. But then Caesars, minus 145. DraftKings, minus 130. Pinnacle, minus 128. And then if you open this up in an event page, it pulls up where every sportsbook is pricing odds for this. Bet Rivers actually has this priced a yard or a throw, an attempt, whatever you want to call it, lower at 34.5 at Bet Rivers. So I like this play, 35.5. It's going to be another half unit play for me. We'll see how much that PointsBet lets me get on this one. So under 35.5 should be worth half of a unit. We'll see how much they let me get on this one, 16.49. Unfortunately, but again, for those of you at home, this should be a half unit play, essentially. So let me just add this one to my bet tracker, 16.49. But the math behind it is the exact same as what I've talked about, right? Minus 111, minus 112. Showing you an example of lower EV percents, like this one is only at 0.76%, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad play. It's still something that you should look into. And the reason why I like this one, the Cardinals offense is such a train wreck. The reason why they pass so much is because they always get down early. I think this could be a rare game where they don't get down early. The Saints I mentioned are incredibly banged up on offense. They're also banged up on defense with Marshawn Lattimore out, and the Cardinals get DeAndre Hopkins back for this game. Now, of course, they lose Hollywood Brown, which hurts, but Kyler Murray in the Cardinals offense has been completely different without DeAndre Hopkins on the field. So maybe they can get out to a faster start than they normally do and don't have to have Kyler Murray throw 100 times a game like they've been doing. So this one, I think, is a good half-unit play. The last player prop that I'm going to lock in is also Kyler Murray, but in this time over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Plus 115 at FoxBet. No vig odds at plus 108. So again, a 7-cent gap between these two numbers. And again, also an outlier when you compare to all the other sportsbooks. FoxBet at plus 115. Across the board for minus money, except for PointsBet, which has it at plus 105. So this is going to be my recommended bet size is about 3/4 of a unit. So I will put 75 on this one, which is roughly 3/4 of a unit. FoxBet should let me get this one in because they don't have me limited like PointsBet does. So for those of you at home, this is going to be a 3/4 unit play. If you don't feel like doing the math and calculating what 3/4 of a unit is for you and you want to just round to half or round to a full unit, I'd probably say just round up to a full unit on this one. I do think that it is a pretty good play. And the logic for why I like it, as my location gets confirmed and we're good to go, the logic why I like it, I mentioned earlier just how banged up the Saints are. They're missing, like I said, Marshawn Lattimore, who is their top cover cornerback. And even with him in the lineup, the Saints have, I think, the 22nd ranked passing defense in the entire NFL. So while I do like Kyler Murray to go under his passing yards prop, his passing attempts prop, I do think him getting 2 touchdowns does make a lot of sense. So Kyler Murray over 1.5 passing touchdowns plus 115 at FoxBet. And then the last play, I mentioned I had a game prop. Probably unsurprising. I'm riding with the Cardinals -3 plus 113 on Circa. This is going to be another play that I'm just going to use, put half of a unit on. But normally, if these teams were fully healthy and the game wasn't on a Thursday, I probably would like the Saints on this one. But with all the injuries they're facing, Jarvis Landry is out. Michael Thomas is out. They're missing Andres Pete, their starting tackle. They're missing, as I mentioned a couple times, Marshawn Lattimore. And also, Andy Dalton has been banged up this week with a back injury. Now, he's still playing, and I still like him to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. But when you just take a look at everything, the holistic betting market, there's a lot riding against the Saints in this one. It's a short week. They're the road team. Granted, the Cardinals stink and they're a total train wreck. I just think it's too much for the Saints to overcome. So I'm actually riding with the Cardinals on this one, which goes into contrast, admittedly, with earlier in the week. I did change my tune as the week went on, and it's a positive expected value play. The odds change themselves. So that's important of just reacting to the information you have at hand. So Cardinals -3 is my official prediction for this game as well. I also like the over, but there's no positive EV bet there. So to confirm, my 4 bets: Andy Dalton over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Kyler Murray over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Cardinals -3, and Kyler Murray under 35.5 passing attempts. And that's it. Those are my 4 bets. So if you are tailing these, let me know. Would love to hear it. Comment on the video with your feedback. Other than that, please remember to subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel to get all of our plays moving forward, especially with the NBA coming back, NHL starting, college basketball starting soon. Going to be a ton of picks on the OddsJam website or OddsJam YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. Of course, check out OddsJam as well. Play around with the tools. We have a lot of free offerings as well that you can mess with But that is it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Enjoy Thursday Night Football tonight, and have a good one.